Prakhar, so tell me, what are some of the conversation hacks or speaking hacks that you tell young men when they speak to a woman they're attracted to? Right? I want to know this. What are some of the ways that you can get
1 hour from your Lalith?
मैं तो वर्जिन हूँ, मेरे को तो पता नहीं कैसे बात करते हैं ladies से. Okay, number one thing you need is conviction. I used to run this experiment, and this is an extreme form of the common experiment, but this makes the point. I'd be out in bars and clubs here, right? Usually bars are more preferable. So the environment is slightly loud. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of stimulation. And what I would do is I'd start a conversation with someone. And you have to be louder than the music to start a conversation with someone. And what happens is once you sort of draw them in, you are in a place where now it's a private bubble. You are talking, the music still exists, the people still exist. And halfway through the conversation, I would shift entirely to Hindi. Like I'd be talking to a woman who never has spoken a word of Hindi, and I'd just speak, "Haan, tu badhiya to hai. Badhiya hai tu, bahut cute hai." All she gathered from that is cute. She probably, I don't know if she even knows that I'm speaking in Hindi, but the body language, the conviction behind my words, the way I look at her and the way I speak is communicating itself. And that is what is being absorbed. And I was stunned when I did that for the first time, because it happened quite unconsciously the first time. Listen, when you are trying to build an entire personality, when you move, by the way, when you move to a foreign country, an English speaking country, it takes a little while for you to have a developed personality in that language. You may speak that language, but having a personality in that is separate. So early, the first couple of years, you're only translating. And one translation I missed, so I just said it in Hindi and she responded, and I was like, whoa. Like, what the hell just happened? And part of that is because the number one element is conviction. People that do not do well with women largely lack conviction in what they say. And then what happens is they look at complete idiots who have conviction in their their stupidity, do so well with women, and they're like, women only like assholes. No, that is an incorrect assumption. Look, bro, women are tuned just like men are tuned to absorb biological sexual signals. And one of the signals from the man side is status. And status is indicative in the conviction behind what you say, in how you carry yourself. How do you walk into a room? Now, one can train you for walking like a king, or you can just walk in the room like you own the party in your head. It changes a lot. So this whole phenomena of trying to get good with the ladies begins right here before you've even met a woman. The first thing you need to understand is you are the prize. That is what I would tell my younger cousin or my nephew. If he came to me, he's like, "Chachu, I need help with the ladies." I'd be like, first, you are the prize. Not that she's not the prize. She's also the prize. But don't go into the place where you place her here and then you chase her down, because she doesn't want a guy who does that. She's going to be like, I'm going to pick the guy who's higher than me, no, who I chase.
Yeah.
Like, people want what is more valuable than them. It's an upgrade, right? So first of all, you are the prize. You walk in like that. Secondly, be convinced of your bullshit. Third, hold tension. This is something Indian men don't understand. And I repeat this podcast after podcast. Tension.
Okay.
Look, I'll say something. Say I'm speaking to a woman. I'll say, "You look super cute." And I just let that hang, instead of trying to fill the silence up with, "But you know, like a friend." You've ruined it. You've ruined it. Say something the opposite. You compliment, okay? Insult side pe. Your face reminds me of Iron Man. You said that to a girl you're interested in. Your face reminds me of Iron Man. Of course, this is complete bullshit. I'm throwing it off. The point is, it's kind of an insult. It's kind of like a small push away. Is fine as long as you're able to hold the tension. Go to your dad, tell him, "No, you will not speak to me like that," or your boss. And let that tension hang. Get okay with being in discomfort. And the discomfort in conversation looks like tension. And so most men completely miss this large point where because they cannot hold tension, they are never able to flirt properly. And holding tension is playing with the boundary, is arriving at the boundary but not quite crossing it, and being completely okay with that. So what happens is, when it comes to saying I like you, first what I need to do is go home so I can text you that. Because I cannot say this to your face, because that's too much tension and I will melt and I'll be nervous and I don't want to look nervous in front of you. Why the hell not? You like her, look nervous, bro. Like, let that be a communication. What is that? What is so wrong with that? But be convinced of your nervousness. I'm nervous.
I have a question here, Prakhar, before you go ahead. Very interesting.
Just let me finish this last point, because people will then say it doesn't make sense. So first, it begins in your head. Second, it begins with conviction behind everything you say. 3, show actual interest. And the only way you'll be able to show actual interest is by being able to hold tension. Now go on.
Do you think I think the biggest fear of men is to be rejected by a woman, and that's why they're usually running with that invisible blanket that I don't want to say it in front of her? Because I think men can take a lot of things, but if there's one thing that they cannot take is being rejected from a woman, and it's, I don't know, dude, it's very biological, it's instinctive, and do you think
because it breaks the illusion?
Yeah,
you can think you are the stud. Look, bro, remove spiritual, psychological, philosophical, remove all meaning, leave just biology, purely on a biological level. Let's talk. And what you realize is that female sexual patterns are the validator of male traits. The preference of a woman validates whether your gene is going to go into the future. The ultimate control on a biological level is with the females. Well, there is a reasonable argument to be made against that too, that men have strength and so on. But like in the way of the grand scheme of biology, where we are all inactive agents, where this is just a cog of the machinery and we are cogs, the control is with the women. And so what happens with a woman's selection of saying yes or no is that you have a hard biological answer. Yes or no. And even though when you're meeting a woman in the wild, when you're 18, 19, 20, it's not the same as wild times when I get reproduce. It's not the same. But the instinct where it gets triggered is the same place. When a woman says no to you, you are forced to confront your insecurities. That is why you see this archetypical transformation. Woman says no, the guy is like, ab main body banayega, bro, main achhe kapde pehnega. Wo movie nahi thi, hole hole ho jayega pyar. What was that Shah Rukh Khan, Anushka Shankar film, where Shah Rukh Khan, the husband of Anushka Shankar, Anushka Sharma. He's like this uncle figure, and then he goes out and dresses up like this rock star figure, and he's dating his own wife. Like, very weird plot, but the archetypical meaning is that at the rejection of a woman is an injunction in a man's life, where you are now allowed to look at yourself anew and reconstruct. So, for instance, I've gotten fat over the last 5 months, fatter than I used to be, less fit, let's just say that, right? And I go out and I try to meet a woman, and I see that this woman who would have probably been interested in me 6 months ago, which is my version of me right now in my head, says, I don't know if I want to go out on a date with you. I have to suddenly confront with my belly, bro. I have to deal with the fact that I let myself loose. I have to let myself deal with the fact that my hair is too long or my beard is unkempt. These are just the physical symptoms. Or I have to deal with the fact that I'm actually not that confident or attractive in my speech and my behavior. Then there is a huge element that the woman's just not into you. There's just options and choices, You don't like Colgate, you like Pepsodent. That doesn't mean Colgate is bad. You like Coke, not Pepsi. That doesn't mean Pepsi is shit. Right? That is a huge part too. But largely what men are afraid of is finding out the truth. And the truth from a woman is ultimate in certain ways. And it's the same thing that athletes go to when they play. Athletes have a finality in their decision making to know if you're playing chess and you lose, you got outplayed, full stop.
True.
And that is why it hurts to lose. Because there is no other way. When you are out and about in the open and you compare, say I compare myself to Lalith, I'm like, Lalith looks better than me, but I have more money than Lalith. Chal na, koi nahi. Like Muddit has cooler friends than me, but you know what? My car is better. Like, there is always this way we set off our losses. But with this kind of shit, there is no setting the losses off. It's very real, and you have to acknowledge, and the pain of acknowledging the change that you need to make is hard. So long story short, women are king.
Nice.
That's the reason.
I think that's a very nice, interesting take. I could see a bunch of hints of Jordan Peterson there when you're saying a cog in the
because there is an element of biological realism that we both sort of follow. You have to acknowledge that the biology and the core of biology is speaking through the complexity of your psychology. I cover this in fundamentals of psychology too. Your biology has 8 signals. They're put through an amplifier that amplifies it to 864 signals. So you think reality is 864, but it's actually 8. And this is where, sorry if this gets a little complicated, Muddit. You
Sorry,
seemed
what?
bothered by it.
No.
You seemed bothered by it.
No. That's probably my concentration phase. So
Very
I've got that
painful concentration phase, my friend.
I know. I know people have written, do you disagree with what I said? Is there a problem? No. What are you talking about? I was completely wired.
No, I thought I was boring you, bro. I thought I was boring
Not
you. This
at
is
all.
stuff I like to nerd out about. Huh?
Not at all. I'm making extensive notes.
Okay. Huh. So that is largely the point. Look, guys, if you want to get better at speaking to women, apart from the 3 things, you need to really go out and try. And be conservative in your approach, right? Don't overshoot. Don't say bullshit. Right? Try simple things, fail, it is okay. Apologize afterwards. It is okay.
In the book,
Go through the process.
I like your example, Prakhar, of in New York City, just approaching random women on the street and trying to talk to them. And because that is very challenging to do. It's the epitome of scary. Thanks for summarizing that. Exactly that. And irrespective of how confident you are, how good looking you are, you have a great personality. But in a new country, in a new city, walking over to women and saying, you're
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting. I'm sure he did it in a less creepy fashion, in a more respectable way. But
largely, we were approaching people. Women were just the hierarchical top of it. If it was a woman, that means this is going to be tough. So the hierarchy is men, women, powerful men, attractive women, way more powerful men, gorgeous women. This is the actual stack for a man trying to approach randomly. And interestingly, what changes for women is attraction scales. What changes for men is status scales. And the higher up you go, generally the tougher it gets. And so we'd attempt random situations, but we also had another scale, which was where library, bro. Oh my God, when 50 people are in a room studying with pin drop silence, it's negative decibel. And you go up to a girl and you say, hi, cute. It is so damn scary, but you have to keep yourself together. You have to keep yourself together and do it. So me and my friend, we'd have a challenge, Lalith. We'd just be walking, he'd point, be like, ja, usse jaake baat karna hai. In English. And you had to run. You had no other option.
Oh, okay.
And our job was to run to 100 failures first. Whoever gets to 100 failures wins.
That's so interesting. I went through my college thinking the library was to read books. I now realize that it's probably for a different purpose altogether.
The first year and a half at Columbia, I in fact loved the library the first 3 years. The first year and a half, I only went to the library to meet girls. No joke. The library had a cafe right at the entrance where you could buy coffee, sit and talk. That you're allowed to talk. By the way, huge library, okay? Several floors and there are rooms in the library that no one knows. There are probably tunnels that were built during World Wars in that library. So it's This is history we're talking about. 350 years of this university. This was built in the 1700s, right? So we would sit in that cafe. I would sit in that cafe and I'd only socialize. My job was to have a sabha. Get people together. And I made some of the most long-lasting friends I made at Columbia, I made in the library. Some of the cutest women I met in the library. Some of the most interesting people overall I met. I heard stories I would not have been exposed to had I not been at the library. I would skip class to sit in the library. Think about that.
Man.
That was a good time.
Crazy. I think this should open up a lot of thoughts for the people who are watching. On that note, I want to ask you one last question on the same subject, Prakhar, before we move on to anything else. What are the things that you must not say or do in communication with a woman? We spoke about the things that you should start with or you should use in your arsenal, but what are the things that is a big no?
Don't sexualize too soon. Don't sexualize too soon, especially in India. Don't be inspired by Salman Khan and stalk. Don't pretend don't say I love you too soon. You are ruining the meaning of the word. And don't overcome it. Don't overcome it yourself, right? if Lalith was a woman and I just met her, I'm also figuring out whether I like you or not. No, I'm attracted to you. That's separate from liking you. मैं नहीं छूटते I love you. Oh, Rockstar में Ranbir Kapoor goes to Nargis Fakri, no? Love बोले रहा है मेरे को तेरे से. Right? Like this is the archetypical Indian approach to a woman. Relax. Tell her you are attracted to her. Tell her she's extremely attractive as a human. India mein, I wouldn't even say you're a very attractive person, or like you look very attractive, because like very quickly the female mind goes towards danger. So I want to keep it the least amount of pressure for her. I'd say there is something so energetic about you. I'm so attracted by it. And then it is suddenly a spiritual compliment rather than a physical compliment. Yeah, don't creep her out. Don't push her too hard. That is what I would say. Like, play the conservative game in India. That is largely the social fabric, right? But be more like, be direct about what you feel. At this point, I think I liked you. Yesterday, I thought I was only attracted to you. Today, I think I really like you. I have such a good time talking to you late nights. Just say that. It's no big deal. Slowly step it up, amp it up. Maybe that's what I would say.